Hello everyone, I'm Georgia and this is The Sound of Georgia. Today I'm going to be ranking some of my favourite Sound of Music covers. So what I mean by that is I'm going to list off some of my favourite versions of the songs in Sound of Music covered by other artists. I should also add, before we go on any further, that this list does not include any covers Julie has done. Julie has covered a lot of songs from Sound of Music over the years in various albums that she's done, but since she did the movie, I'm not counting her in this. But before I start officially ranking, I do have to give an honourable mention to Ashley Park's version of Do Re Mi. I freaking love this one, but the reason I'm putting it in as an honourable mention rather than the main list is because it is just so different. This song from the R&H Goes Pop album, and if you saw my review for that a little while back, you'll note that there are just as many songs on that album that are remixes of the original song as there are what I would call covers. And this version is very, very much a remix, so it's very, very hard to rank in a list like this. So by making an honourable mention, this list is exactly 10 songs long. So let's get started. I'm going to move up from number 10 to number 1. At number 10 I have Katrina Lenck's cover of Something Good. This one's also from the R&H Goes Pop album, but it is much, much closer to a cover than it is a remix, and is therefore much easier to put on a list like this. And I also mentioned it in my R&H Goes Pop album video, but it is definitely my least favourite song on that album. I don't know exactly what it is about it. She has a beautiful voice, and obviously I love the song, but there's just something a bit, I don't know about it. Maybe it's because it's done as a solo when the original song is a duet. So at number 9 I have Kelly Clarkson's cover of My Favourite Things. Really, most of the songs on this list are covers of My Favourite Things or Edelweiss. It's actually pretty hard to find covers of Sound of Music songs that aren't those two. My Favourite Things, where do you find this one? On a Christmas album. And that's the case with this version from Kelly. It is on her Wrapped in Red Christmas album. Because My Favourite Things is just as likely to turn up on a Christmas album as insert carol name here, it's not a Christmas song. I made a whole video about that. This one's at number 9 because it's just fine. Obviously I listened to it because it's from Sound of Music, and I like a few of Kelly Clarkson's other songs, so I thought I'd give it a whirl. And I'd say it's probably exactly what you would think it would be from Kelly Clarkson's cover of My Favourite Things. And for me, that's good. Number 8 is kind of a similar thing, and that is David Harris's cover of Edelweiss. Because Edelweiss is kind of the big one from Sound of Music that everybody likes to cover, because it is a big moment in the show. But also because it's not so specific. So many people back then thought that Edelweiss was a real Austrian folk song, and I think because of that it can work in sort of a non-musical setting, which is why it's covered very, very, very often. I listened to this one because I saw David Harris do Wicked and Legally Blonde, and so because of that I thought I'd look at his musical theatre cover album, but that's really the only reason I bought it. He's got a great voice, I love seeing him in those shows, but this one is just good. It's kind of like number 9 on this list. It beats Kelly Clarkson because, well, David's a better singer. At number 7 I have Sierra Boggess and Rodney Gilfrey's cover of Something Good. And this is where we start to get into the really, really love section. This one is interesting because it's not strictly a cover. All of these ones are part of an album that the artist records, but this one was from a concert thing. It was a Rodgers and Hammerstein in concert sort of thing. So the way this one's sung, it's almost like they're doing the play themselves. Sierra is amazing. We all know that. If you've heard of Sierra Boggess, you know she's incredible. And we'll get back to her because there's another one that she did on this list. Rodney I've never heard before. In fact, I've never heard of him before until I sat down to listen to the song. He was fine. Moving up to number 6, we have Pentatonix's cover of My Favourite Things. Again, from a Christmas album. This one is just so much fun. It reminds me a bit of Kelly Clarkson's version with that kind of sort of poppy edge to it, but it's a lot more fun. So we're halfway through, and at number 5 I have Judith Durham's cover of Climb Every Mountain. I've been a huge fan of the Seekers since I was very, very young. If you don't know who Judith Durham is, A, look her up. but she was the lead in a band called The Seekers. They're an Aussie band that were very, very big in the 1960s. My grandfather told me about them when I was very, very young, and it is probably the one thing in the entire world that we agree on. So simply the fact that it is Judith puts it this high on this list. Probably my favourite thing about this version is you can tell that she's an Aussie. Or maybe it's just because I've listened to The Seekers a lot. But the way she sings some of those words, you can definitely tell she's an Aussie. If you haven't heard her or The Seekers sing, look them up. So now we're at number 4, and I can't believe this is only number 4, and at the same time I like that it's only number 4. And that is Leslie Odom Jr.'s cover of My Favourite Things. This is once again on a Christmas album. Am I basically destined to love this one so much more just because it's Leslie? You bet. Like Judith's one, a huge part of the reason I love it is simply because it's Leslie, and I love Leslie so much. I love Leslie, I love this song, I love Leslie doing this song. It's very, very sweet and tender, and it's 6 minutes long. That always makes me feel good. So we're in the top 3 now, and this is where we come back to Sierra Boggess. Number 3 is her cover of I Have Confidence. This is from the same concert performance thing where she did Something Good with Rodney, and as I said, she is amazing. It only took one listen to this song to skyrocket it to number 3. And like with her version of Something Good, this scenario was far more like a concert setting, so it was almost like she was playing the role itself, rather than just singing the song. At number 2, I have Celia Pavey's cover of Edelweiss. Celia Pavey was the 3rd place winner in the 2nd season of The Voice, the Australian version that is. I think Celia is also known as Vera Blue somewhere, and like every other person on The Voice, really hasn't done much since. But that's also the reason I have a bit of sentimentality for this cover in particular. I absolutely love this one. And as I said before, a lot of people thought Edelweiss was a traditional Austrian folk tune. And at least when she was doing The Voice, Celia had a bit of a country style going on. And Edelweiss fits that very well. And for number 1 is another cover of Edelweiss, and that is the one done by Leslie Odom Jr. Surprise, surprise. I mean, since we're not counting Julie, does it get better than having someone from Hamilton cover a Sound of Music song for me? No, not really. So once again, the fact that it's Leslie makes pretty much all the difference, and it's a huge part of the reason it is number 1. And I really love this one a lot more than his cover of My Favourite Things. Beautiful song, beautiful voice, one of my favourite people in the universe, and it's a duet with his wife, which is just adorable. So there you go. The 10 covers of Sound of Music songs that I've listened to a lot. There are plenty more out there. As I said, most of them are My Favourite Things or Edelweiss, but all the artists on this list have done albums and songs that I really, really love as well. Okay, I haven't listened to anything else Katrina Lang's done, but she was on the R&H Girls Pop album, so I had to include it. And obviously, I know I said it was an honourable mention, but I also haven't listened to anything else Ashley Park has done. I hate Mean Girls. I've only seen the movie, but I hate it. And so that's everything I've got for today. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what is your favourite cover of a song from Sound of Music. Which song was it and who sings it? Stay safe guys, feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my video next time. So long, farewell!